hardware descriptive language. We are going to discuss about hardware descriptive language. Okay, so we have that two different types of hardware descriptive language. One is we got as VHDL, another one is we got as Verilog HDL. So this HDL stands for here hardware descriptive language. So HDL stands for here hardware descriptive language. But here in the VHDL, so what is V stands for? VHIC. That V itself we have the acronym. It is nothing but very high speed integrated circuits. Very high speed integrated circuits. So V stands for very high speed integrated circuits, hardware descriptive language, and this Verilog you can split into two words. So log stands for logic and very stands for verifying. So verifying the logic using hardware descriptive language. Okay, so here the Verilog is a case sensitive language. Case sensitive language. So it means you have to take care of lowercase and uppercase. You have to take care of your lowercase and uppercase. Okay, so why we need this language? Okay, you may study about different languages starting from your C, C++, Java or Python or whatever it may be. But why we want to study this separate language? To describe our hardware. To describe our hardware. Because we know that our hardware should support both sequential execution as well as parallel execution. So whatever the language construct you have studied as of now, it will mostly supporting your sequential in nature execution point of view, but it won't support parallel execution or what we call as concurrent execution. Okay, moreover, whatever the code you are writing here using hardware descriptive language, once you synthesize your Verilog or VHDL code, that code it automatically converts into as a logic blocks, what we call as hardware. Okay, so this it will support to generate the hardware architecture from the Verilog code or VHDL code. That's why we want to study, especially the circuit branch engineers, both ECE, E&I, EEE students. They have to study about this Verilog HDL or VHDL if you want to pursue your career in VLSI or FPGA field. Okay, so now we will start. Before we are going to enter into Verilog HDL. Okay, so this it is coined by this US Defense Academy for their defense purpose. Okay, so mostly that research level, all the institute, if you are seeing that Europe countries and the US, they are using this VHDL. Okay, but if you want to understand that VHDL, the syntax of this VHDL, it is belonging to this ADA language. Syntax of this VHDL, it is based upon the ADA language. So this is not familiar to us, and we are not studied at all ADA language. So if you are directly start studying this VHDL, understanding it is a bit difficult. But if you are understanding this Verilog HDL code, then switch over from Verilog HDL to VHDL, it is easy for you. But here your Verilog HDL, the syntax is almost same as our C language. So since already you are familiar with the C language, we are going to adapt here Verilog HCL in our subject. Okay, so here in the Verilog HCL, if you are checking the textbook, there are different textbooks available. My suggestion here is Verilog Premier by Bhaskar. Verilog Premier by Bhaskar. That textbook, if you have taken that, then all the fundamental things you can study from the textbook. You can download from the Google also. Okay, so once you're understanding this Verilog HCL, then switch over from this Verilog HCL to VHCL. It is easy. Or if you already know this VHCL, switch over from VHCL to Verilog HCL also easy. That means if you know any one language, switching from one language to another language, it is very, very easy. Okay, so Verilog HCL further they are defined synthesizable Verilog code and non-synthesizable Verilog code. We will see that what it means later on. What it means both the case. Okay, so whatever we are going to discuss in our class, almost all the syntax it is synthesizable only, except what you are writing in the test bench. Okay, so now if you are moving to this Verilog HCL, so Verilog stands for Verifying Logic Hardware Descriptive Language. It is a case-sensitive language. Okay, so Verilog HCL is a case-sensitive language. Okay, so the syntax here, what you're having, you are having this, the starting with all are lowercase. All the keywords are lowercase. All the keywords are lowercase. All the keywords are lowercase only. That means these keywords you cannot use it as a user defined variable. So I will tell what are the keywords once you're writing. Okay, so here module is a keyword. So module, the first line you have to start with the module, then followed by module name, followed by module name. Then what you are having here, this portion of the code what we call as module header. Okay, in the first line you have three component. So module is a keyword, module name is a user defined variable, and the module header it has information about the module header. It has information about, it has the information about what are the inputs in our design, what are the inputs and outputs in our design. It will give the information about what are the inputs and output in our design. Okay, in our design. So module header nothing but it will give the input variables and output variables and its direction. That's what it is, having the module header information. And if you're having module, definitely that you have to have the end module. So end, so module. So these are first line and these are last line. Okay, in between you have to describe your hardware here. You have to describe your hardware. You have to describe your hardware here. Okay, so first line you have to start with module, and last line you have to end with end module. In between you have to describe your hardware. The description of your hardware, we have different types, we will discuss about it. Okay, so what is the importance of this module name? So module name, it is a user defined variable, user defined variable or user defined keyword, whatever you call it as. Okay, this module name you can give it any name, but you have to give always the meaningful name. Always give meaningful name. Even though it is user defined variable, you have to always give the meaningful name, so that by reading this module name itself, suppose you are working as a team, especially in the VLSI industry, you have to work under the team. You cannot execute as an individual person any project. Okay, that means it will move from one team to other team, because it has that entire flow of VLSI. It is divided into different submodules. So each submodules, we are having the specialized engineers to execute the specialized task. So by reading this module name, either from our team members, they will understand what hardware we are describing here and what abstract level we are describing here. They have to come to know. Or suppose you wrote the code by your team, you are moving this, you are sending this code to some other team. The other team members also has to understand by reading this name. So what code you are writing here. Okay, so this module name, it is very important. Okay, so you can give it XYZ, but if you are giving XYZ, nobody will understand that what you described here. You can give it whatever you want. You can give it your name, your father name, or your friend's name, whatever it is, no issue. The tool will accept it and it will execute it. Another thing is, the module name should be a single word. You should not give it module space name. You should not give it some, for example, half dash order. It should not give it like that. It should be a single word. Okay, it should be a single word. It should be a single word. So that also you have to take care. And you should not start with numbers or special character. It should not start with number or special character. So that is not accept here. You have to always start with alphabets. Yeah, somebody interrupt.
Sir, underscore could be used, right?
Yeah, you can use, if you want to split two words,
Yes,
you
sir.
can use underscore. Okay,
Okay.
but it should be a single word. If you're using underscore, it will consider as a single word. Okay, so do you all remember this? What are the important things? The first line, it should end with a semicolon, and last line there is no semicolon. That also you have to take care. The first line is end with semicolon, and last line there is no semicolon. Okay, do you have any doubt in this? As of now, the module declaration, this is what we call as module declaration. Do you have any doubt in this?
No, sir.
Okay, so now this description, we have different abstract level. Different abstraction Vela HCL we will discuss next. Different abstraction level in Verilog HTL. Okay, so different abstraction level. Okay, so the first one is we are going to discuss about data flow modeling. Data flow
Excuse me, sir.
modeling. Yeah.
Sir, you have not added Aniket in the team, so he is waiting.
Who is that?
He messaged on, sir, Aniket, sir, Aniket. He messaged on the WhatsApp group also.
Uh, Aniket. Do you know his register number?
Yes, sir. 18BEE0230.
230. 1 minute. ask him to check it now.
Okay, sir.
Okay, the first one is data flow modeling, and the second one is structural modeling. So in the structural modeling, you have two types. One is using primitive gates. One is using primitive gates. Another one is using hierarchical modeling. And third one is behavioral modeling. Here there are different behavioral modeling available, but we are going to discuss using if statement, and we are going to use case statement, if and case statement. And the fourth one is switch level modeling. Okay, so the switch level modeling we are not going to cover in our syllabus, but these three we are going to discuss here. Okay, data flow modeling, structural modeling, and behavioral modeling. Okay, so why we need this different modeling or different abstract level to describe the hardware? Okay, so now if you are saying that any design, suppose I want to design this half adder, this half adder, before I start design, in the specification what I am going to say, it has two inputs and two outputs, and it produce the result of two inputs, the addition of, and it produce the result as addition of two inputs. Okay, so like this, the specification, that is functional specification or functional statement. Okay, so now, so it is saying that I have the half adder, this half adder, it has a two inputs, it has two outputs. Okay, so now I consider this input as my A and B, and I consider this input as my sum and C out. Now this sum and C out, it will produce output as the addition of these two inputs. Okay, so now this is what we call as abstract level. This is what we are abstract. So abstract level means what? It is hiding some information. So now we know that in the module header, we know that the input A and B, output is sum and C out. So it has information about what are the input, what are the output, but it is not describing that how we are modeling this half adder. That information it is hiding here. That's why we got this abstract level. So any design we have to start with like this, with the known statement. Then from the statement we have to derive the truth table. So this is how your design steps will evolve. Okay, so without knowing the truth table, you cannot start any design. Am I right? Without knowing the input, without knowing the output, what you want, you cannot start any design anywhere. Okay, so first you have to convert your statement problem into truth table. Since you have two inputs, there are four possible input combinations: 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1. Okay, since if you are adding this 0, 0, your sum is 0, C out is 0. 0 plus 1, sum is equal to 1, C out is 0. 1 plus 0, sum is equal to 1, C out is equal to 0. 1 plus 1, 1, 0. That means sum is equal to 0, carry is equal to 1. Okay, so once you know the truth table, from the truth table, you know how to get the Boolean expression. You know how to get the Boolean expression. So from the, if you want to get the Boolean expression, then either you have to use the Boolean formulas, or you have to use the KMF, or if you know the, if your design is very small and if you know that all the truth table, you can write directly write the expression from the truth table. Okay, by looking this sum column, what is the truth table of which logic gate? This one. By looking this sum column,
XOR gate, sir.
XOR gate. So it is going to be A XOR B, and your C out is nothing but A dot B, AND gate. Okay. So once you're getting this Boolean expression, then you can draw the logic diagram. You can draw the logic diagram. So logic diagram, you are going to draw from this Boolean expression. So here the logic diagram, you need one XOR gate. You need one XOR gate. You need one AND gate. So now A is connected to here, both your AND gate as well as XOR gate. Similarly, the B input, this is also connected to your AND gate. So this is going to be sum and this is going to be C out. Okay, now with respect to the given statement problem, we derive the truth table, we derived the Boolean expression, we derived the logic diagram. Okay, so this is applicable for any given design, whether it may be a small design or it may be a larger design. But you have to start from the specification. You have to get the abstract level. First, you have to get the truth table, then Boolean expression, then logic diagram. Okay, so now from this, what you're understanding here. Okay, so the truth table also represent which one? Truth table represent which one? Which design truth table this one? Which design truth table this one?
For some it is XOR and
No.
carry
No. As a whole design. So truth
Sir,
table
half
also,
header, sir.
truth table also representing half header. Your Boolean expression also representing half header. Your logic diagram also representing half header. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if this is possible in the hardware point of view, same thing we should write in the Verilog HCL also. That is how we are classifying that different abstract level, what we call this data flow modeling, structural modeling, and behavioral modeling. Okay, so now if I want to write data flow modeling, then I have to know the particular design Boolean expression. Without knowing the Boolean expression, I cannot write the data flow modeling. If I want to write behavioral modeling, then I have to know the truth table of that particular design. Or I can say that behavioral. Without knowing the truth table, I cannot write the behavioral modeling. And without knowing the logic diagram, I cannot write the structural modeling. Do you understand that why we are discussing now? Structural. You understand that? So if you want to write structural modeling, first you have to draw the logic diagram of particular design. If you want to write the data flow modeling, first you have to write the Boolean expression of that particular modeling. If you want to write the behavioral modeling, first you have to write the truth table. Then only you have to start write the Verilog code. Do you understand now? the way you can describe a different model, but your first line and last line it won't change, because the description of your hardware it is after first line and before last line. Okay, so this is how we are going to describe in 3 different modeling level. Anybody have any doubt? Anybody have any doubt?
No, sir.
No,
Okay.
sir.
Now I want to write the code. First I will complete data flow, then structural, then behavior, like that will go. Okay, first we'll throw in that data flow modeling. Okay, so now I am going to write Verilog code using data flow modeling. Data flow modeling. So data flow modeling, what you have to know? So you have to know the Boolean expression. You have to know the Boolean expression, and you have to know the Boolean operators. You have to know the Boolean operators in Verilog. It is Verilog which is supporting. What Verilog operators it is supporting. So here, what are the Boolean operators you have? You have AND gate. The operators here is ampersand. Then you have OR gate. The symbol here it is pipe symbol. This symbol, if you are seeing that above your enter button, your keyboard, then you have this negation. Sorry, negation is for NOT gate. Negation is for NOT gate, and NAND gate. You have to use negation ampersand. That means if I want to write NAND gate 2 input, then I have to put negation of A and B. That's what A dot B whole bar. You have to put. You should not put negation only A or only B. You have to first put A and B. Then in front of that you have to put the negation. Similarly for NOR gate, you have to use pipe symbol in front of that negation. Pipe symbol in front of that negation. Okay. Similarly for XOR, you have to use the cap symbol. Similarly for XNOR, you have to use negation of cap or cap negation. Both are correct. Okay, these are the operators you have to use. Then you have to use in the data flow modeling, assign as a keyword. All these things, all are lowercase. Assign as a keyword. Assign keyword you have to use. Okay, this assign keyword is used for the concurrent called as concurrent assign statement. Okay, so now you understood that if I want to write data flow modeling, first I have to know the Boolean expression. Then I have to know what are the Boolean operators it is supporting for this Boolean expression. Then once I know this, then you have to describe your hardware using assign keyword. Okay, so now we are going to describe our half adder using data flow modeling. Okay, so half adder using data flow modeling. So first I have to write the Boolean expression. So Boolean expression, what you have? You have this sum is equal to A XOR B. You're having Cout is equal to A dot B. Okay, so once you know this, then you have to write your code. So it should start with module. What will come next one?
So user defined module name.
Sir, half header.
Yeah, module name. So the module name, I already told that some of the restriction, some of the good way you have to write the module name. What you can give it here. So I have to give some meaningful name. So the meaningful name is here. I stored here HA. In further detail, if you want, I can put underscore DF. So it means by reading this module name, the people has to understand that I am going to write the code for the half header using data flow modeling. Using data flow modeling. Then this bracket, what you are having? This bracket, what you are having?
Sir, input and output.
Input and output. So input is a keyword, lowercase. Input a comma b. This you can give it the input variable, output variable. You can give it as a uppercase or lowercase, but it is a case sensitive language. If you are using here lowercase, here also you are describe using lowercase only. If you are using here uppercase, here also you are describe as a uppercase only. You should not interchange uppercase to lowercase. Okay. Input a comma b, then output sum comma C out. So that's all about the first line. So first line it has about module as a keyword, then module name is a user defined things. You can give it uppercase, lowercase here also. But so whatever I underline here, this is a keyword. You should not use for some other purpose. Okay, and you should not use capital letter here. Okay, so these are the keywords. Okay, next I have to, since I'm writing here data flow modeling, I have to use assign statement. This is also lowercase or lowercase. Assign is a keyword. Assign my sum equal to, now this,
Sir?
yeah.
Sir, in this Verilog code, sir, do we have to take care of indentation?
Indentation, the space you're telling?
Yes, sir.
No, space it's not an issue.
So like, sir, first line like starts from module, right? So, sir, assign we have to write like right below module, also like giving a tab space and then writing it.
No, this continuously you can write. First line, second line, third line, like that you can write.
Okay.
But there is a space between assign and sum because
Yes,
this
sir,
is a
yes, sir.
keyword, no?
Clear, yes, sir.
Yeah. So now we want to replace this symbol, XR symbol, with which one? Boolean operator. What is the Boolean operator here?
Cap.
A, cap, B, semicolon. So this also should end with semicolon. All the assign statements should end with semicolon. Assign your C out is equal to dot operation. Dot operation means which one?
Sir, and
ampersand. A and B, then N module. There is no space between end and module. If you are giving space, then this will consider as a, because end is separate keyword, module is separate keyword, N module is one keyword. If you are giving it space, then it will consider as a error. Okay, N module only a single word. Okay, any module should start with module and end with N module. Okay, here this is also the keywords. Okay, that's all about our half header code. Anybody having any doubt?
Sir, what's the operator for OR?
Pipe symbol we call it as, so it is kind of vertical line, or it will be, actually this is a symbol, but this will, in the keyboard you can see the symbol, it is above your enter button. Huh? It is there, huh? We call it as pipe symbol or R symbol, the vertical line. It is not slash, it is vertical line. Do you have any doubt in this?
So yesterday in the software, we also put code for test bench. So
Yeah.
what do we in that?
Yeah, I will come to that. Okay, so now this is our design. Okay, so now you may done this basic 8 verification. Have you done in the breadboard?
yes, sir.
You have done digital circuits, no? Using breadboard.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so now can you all remember that what you done? You are inserted the IC, and based upon the circuit diagram, you are connected the wire. Once your connection is over, then you are feeding the supply voltage and ground, no, and you are verifying the output in the LED. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now this design code, what we wrote here, this is nothing but design code. Here, what we written here, it is half order design code. This code is nothing but design code. So now you design the circuit. Now you design the circuit. Now you want to verify that your design is working properly as per my expectation or not. Okay, so this Verilog HCL and VHCL, it not only supporting to design the circuit, also it will support to verify the functionality by writing the test bench. Are you understand that? So now this designed circuit we have to verify using the test bench. So that's what we are going to discuss next one. How to write the test bench for the designed half order underscore DF module. Okay, so now how to write the test bench code for the design circuit. First, I will discuss about the what are the important things you have to consider here. Okay, so here also you have to start with module. Here also you have to start with module. Here also you have this module name. Here also you have the module name. Okay, so here the module name, what I'm going to give it, normally, sorry, what I have to give it this module name. Whatever the module name you are given in our design code, followed by underscore test, so that everyone has to understand you wrote the code, you wrote the right test bench for which design. So now I take this module name HA underscore DF underscore test. So by reading this test bench module name, the people has to understand that I wrote the test bench here for the half order data flow module. Okay, so there is no here module header. There is no module header. So this is empty here. So in the test bench module name only in the first line. Okay, then whatever the input you are given in our design, whatever the input you are given in our design, that should be converted to register type. That should be converted to register type. So input A, B, all your inputs in our design. Okay, then all your output, it is going to be declared as, that is output here, sum and Cout. All and output, your output, it is going to be declared as wire sum comma Cout. Here it is all your outputs. Okay, so these are the two data types available in the Verilog: register data type and wire data type. Why output is we are giving as a wire data type means we are, as a design engineers, we are going to observe or we are going to modify the output. Whether we are going to observe the output or we are going to modify the output. See, listen, in our breadboard connections, once you are giving supply voltage and zeros and 1, in the LED you are going to observe or in the LED you are going to modify?
Observe it, sir.
Only observing. We cannot modify the output, no? So whatever it is coming, we have to observe. So that means we cannot change. So whatever is coming in the signal in the wire, that we are giving as to output variables. Someone's out. But since you have two inputs, how many possible combinations you have in your design? How many possible combinations in the
4.
input you can 4 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1 you can modify, no? So that is given to register type. Register we are going to modify 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1. For the changes we are going to observe the output. Am I correct? Okay, in the first line module name, next line all the inputs as a register type, and next line all the outputs in wire data type. Now it is very important here. We call it as here module instantiation. We call it as module instantiation means. So what we are doing now, I want to feed this input to where? I want to feed this input to where? I want to feed this input to this design code, correct? I want to feed this input to this design. Okay. So now, whatever the module name you are given in your design code, the same. If it is uppercase or lowercase, if you are using lowercase, there's a lowercase only you have to call there. If you are using uppercase, the uppercase only you have to call it. So now I am using here lowercase, same as your design code, HA_DF. HA_DF, that is my module name. Okay, then next the instance name. So these were module name. Then the instance name, either I have to give it UUT. UUT stands for here unit under test, or I can write it as DUT. So DUT stands for design under test. I can use UUT or DUT. That is, or you can use any variable, no issue. Okay, normally in the textbook, if you are seeing, either they are using UUT. UUT stands for unit under test, or they may use DUT, design under test. Okay, then I have to call all the input and output here without the keyword. So I have to write here A, B, sum, and Cout. Okay, this we call it as positional mapping. I will tell what it means. Positional mapping, positional association mapping. Okay, this double slash in the Verilog we are using for command line, single line command. Okay, so what are things important in this line? What is this? What is this first one?
So the design code module name.
Module name. We call it as module name. This or module name. What is this one?
Oh, unit under test.
Unit under test.
Instance name. Instance name. This were instance name. Then this is what we call as positional mapping. So without this line, your test bench, it won't generate the output because you are feeding this input to this test bench design code only. Okay, so now I have to feed the test vector here. I have to feed the here. So up to here, what are then? I given the first line module name, second line input, third line output, and then I call the module. Now I have to feed the inputs. That is test vector. Test vector I have to feed here. Okay, so in the text vector, what are things you have to use? The comment here. It is initial. Initial is a keyword. Initial, begin. Okay, then you have to, since you have only 4 inputs, I am going to write directly A is equal to 1 bit binary 0. B is equal to 1 bit binary 0. That means A is equal to 0, B is equal to 0. Wait for some time. I give it 10 nanosecond, 10 time unit. Okay, then I am going to give it here next input. A is equal to 1 bit binary 0 and B is equal to 1 bit binary 1. That is 0 0 0 1. Wait for some time. Why this delay is required? Because after getting input, it will take some time to produce the result. Okay, that is nothing but propagation delay. But this time delay should be more than your propagation delay. So I understood that single XOR gate and AND gate, it won't take more than 1 or 2 nanosecond, but I give it for safer side, I give it 10 nanosecond. Okay, then I give it here A is equal to 1 bit binary 1 and B is equal to 1 bit binary 0. Wait for some time. As is a keyword for delay. A is equal to 1 bit binary 1 and B is equal to 1 bit binary 1 end. Then this end is for this begin. Then finally what you have to have? Finally what you have to have? End module. So now this input only, it is going to this design and you are observing the output in the sum and cout. You are not declaring any output here, no? Right? In the test vector, you have to feed only input and you are observing the output here. Do you have any doubt? So this is what test bench. So what are things it is involved in the test bench? First line.
So module
First
name.
line is module name. Second line is
Sir, the input variables.
all your inputs. And third line is, so this order is not important. I am telling second line, third line order is not important. Okay, then you have to call that design code here, design module name. Then you have to map it here. We will discuss more about this line. But now, as of now, you remember that only all the inputs, this input and output, whenever you are going to positional mapping, you should not, for example, here in the lower module, I first declare the input AB, then I declare output sum and cout. If you are going to positional mapping, you should not interchange this input and output. As per the position only, you have to map it. So the keyword you should not write, but you have to write only this variable. What I want to insist here, I want to give it here some stress here. You should not write here some cout AB. Okay, the position as it is in the design code, same position also here should come. That's why we call it as positional association mapping. Positional association mapping. Do you understand? No, you should not change some cout AB. The same order you have to follow it. The order is important here. The order is the order of input and output is important here. Important here. Okay, if you are changing the order, then it won't work properly. Are you clear? Are you clear? Anybody have any doubt as of now? Anybody have any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, so we will stop here. We'll continue from next class.